Hi, hello guys. Today we are doing another episode on, this time it's Universe Sandbox, not Space Engine. Well, actually, the reason that I'm here doing this is that we need to make some new stuff about the solar system because there's actually a few hypothetical planets that I can add in the solar system, which are pretty old, and actually have their data right here with me on a few old news articles talking about these hypothetical planets that I've chosen. Well, today I've chosen W.H. Pickering and V.B. Ketkar's hypothetical planets. W.H. Pickering, also called William Henry Pickering, was born in 1858 and died in 1938, and he predicted 7 planets, which were planets O, P, Q, R, S, T, and U, which were from the years 1909 to 1932. He is actually one of the 2 most renowned astronomers, which helped make predictions on Planet X, which was Pluto's old name before it was discovered. These planets, O, P, Q, R, S, T, and U, have a bit altered versions, which are O and P are the ones that have different versions of them. So, there are 3 O's with different data and 3 P's with different data. Why did they choose planets, these names, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U? Actually, he chose these letters because it came after N, which stands for Neptune. So he basically chose Neptune, O, P, Q, R, S, T, and U, as planets after Neptune, which is actually pretty odd because I think there are a few planets over here that are actually very close to Neptune, if not in between Neptune and Uranus. But, well, we will use them here. Also, there is Ketkar, which is from India, and he studied in the Punjabi University, and I think he's from 1860 something. Actually, let me see if I can find his birth date. Well, I didn't find it over here, but he is from between 1912 to 1930. I think he died before Pluto's discovery. He was Indian, and V.B. Ketkar, or also written as Ketakara or Ketakar, not Ketkar. He made 2 predictions of Pluto, 2 planets that were both kind of like Planet X. It's as if he split Planet X, Pluto into 2, and these planets were named Brahma and Vishnu. Why Brahma and Vishnu? Brahma and Vishnu are called the Trinity. I don't remember the word in Hindu. And this Trinity is basically the equilibrium because Brahma represents creation and Vishnu represents the perpetuation of this created thing. So it's basically the fundamentals of existence. These 2 goddesses are the 2 main deities in Hindu culture, in the Hindu religion. And these 2 planets, these 2 names were used as the 2 hypothetical planets suggested by V.B. Ketkar. And actually, Ketkar used a bit of a different way to make his predictions because normally everyone would use Neptune or Uranus's positions and their discrepancies, which is their differences. Like Neptune and Uranus don't have exact circles as their orbits; they have a few discrepancies, which makes their orbits have a bit of an oval shape. And continuing, people like Todd, Forrest, Flammarion, Lowe, Galatzi, and Pickering and Lowell used Neptune, Uranus, and calculated them considering the effect of the sun's gravity and the perturbations, the gravitational perturbations of other solar system planets, like Jupiter or Saturn. For example, what Saturn does to Uranus's orbit. These are the perturbations that were shown in the articles, and their results were compared to other orbits that were observed before. For example, Jupiter and Saturn's orbit. Jupiter and Saturn's orbit compared to Uranus's and Neptune's. They would compare the other planets from the solar system, and they would make their predictions on where and the size of the planet that would stay, usually over here in the Kuiper belt. So we will do this now. We will add these planets, and I am planning on making this video short. So yeah, I'm going to explain a bit more. But Ketkar would use something else as his base to make his theories on Brahma and Vishnu. I do not know why they have water. I'm going to change that. Well, he used Laplace's law of Jupiter's satellites. So basically, Ketkar used Jupiter and his moons to make his predictions on the planets that were further away from the sun. Now, I'm going to find here the data on Brahma and Vishnu, and Brahma. Also, Brahma is actually the name of a beer brand, so yeah. How he did this, basically, Ketkar, one day he compared the aphelions, which are the furthest point from stars, and he found that these comets that he measured the aphelions of actually had orbits very similar to the normal planets' orbits, and he discovered that some aphelions from over here next to Brahma were further away from this area over here, and this was where he was basically sure that Brahma and Vishnu existed. Well, I have here Brahma, and Brahma is mostly used as Ketkar's main theory on Pluto. Planet X was its name at the time. And also there in a few other articles, Brahma is also known as Janus. Ketkar's Brahma had a distance of 38.95 AU away from the sun. Actually was pretty close to Pluto's data, but it's just a coincidence. So let's just put the view, let's just orbits. And now, sadly, there is no found eccentricity or inclination, but also there's no rotation period, so we'll have to create that. The only thing that we're sure of is the distance, which is 38.95 AU. I think that's basically it for Brahma, which is sad. The only issue is that I cannot find Vishnu. Well, okay, the period of Uranus times the daily motion of Uranus is equals to the period of Vishnu times the daily motion of Vishnu. Period is 458.27 years. Wow, where is the period? Orbital period, yes. Which is way out there, if you notice. It is at approximately like 50 AU, am I right? No, it's 84.4 AU. That's odd. But we do not know its aphelion or anything else. Well, we do not have much on Vishnu, so let's just say that Vishnu is basically where we already know it is. That's nice. I don't know if we should change anything from Brahma, but let me see if there is anything more. So yeah, this is the list of, I'm doing it, like, for now, the list of hypothetical planets of the solar system. I am going to do that later. I've actually found data, but it is a bit different because the orbital period as a semi-major axis is different. Well, this is the only thing that they know about Vishnu, which is sad. They will add mass to Brahma and Vishnu. Well, I usually thought Vishnu was a bit of a larger planet. Also, I put the mass of Vishnu to be larger than Brahma's because, well, Vishnu is further away from Brahma, so for it to have the same effect Brahma would do on Neptune, Vishnu would need to have a larger mass because it's further away from the sun than Brahma is. Now that we've done this, let's just see what it does to the solar system. Also, ignore this ejected planet. It's not a planet. It's an asteroid, and yes, it is currently being ejected from the solar system. As we've seen, somehow, there's not really much of a change in orbits. Vishnu and Brahma have been confirmed to not exist. If they were to exist, we would have seen them a very long time ago because we have seen planets like Sedna, we have seen this asteroid over here, we have seen this sednoid over here, and many other sednoids around the solar system. And if we were able to see that, we should have been able to see Brahma and Vishnu. However, because it never really existed, it isn't really here. Well, let's just do a little bit of a very simple very simple bands for now. But later, when I turn off this camera, I'm going to show you guys better. A few planets like P and Q, which I'm going to talk about in a few later episodes, were actually way further out and way more inclined than the rest. And because of these distances, we're actually going to talk not only about Planet X and these Plutoids, which is the name. I think people call it Plutoids, but I like to call it Plutoids. If it's already a word, I am not sure. But these hypothetical planets that were supposed to be Pluto, some are so far away that they are comparable to the distance of Tyche, which is another hypothetical planet that we will talk about later. And when we will continue talking about outer system planets, and then we will go more inwards over time, and we will suddenly be able to go to Vulcan. Vulcan is actually shown in a simulation. Let me just save this. Actually, there is a simulation for Vulcan, hypothetical planet Vulcan. Here it is. And there is all of the data on Vulcan in the 19th century, many astronomers. We're going to see that later. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and goodbye.